Biomed Nexus Daily Updates, your essential biotech, medtech, and pharma recap. No noise, just what matters. TLDR ASCO 2026 abstracts were released, and the early standout is Merck Biotech's sacituzumab tirumatican, sac-TMT. Combining the Trop-2 ADC with Keytruda reduced the risk of disease progression or death by 65% compared with Keytruda alone in treatment-naive, PD-L1 positive, non-small cell lung cancer, OptiTrop lung 5, P-Uljo 0001. A preliminary 45% improvement in overall survival was observed but is not yet mature. ASCO opens tomorrow, May 29th to June 2nd, Chicago. 3 plenary presentations anchor the meeting. Revolution Medicine's full ASCO 302 data in pancreatic cancer, Saturday. Akeso's ivonescimab overall survival data in squamous NSCLC, Harmony 6. And J&J's Erleada Proteus data described as a potential paradigm shift in high-risk prostate cancer. Biospace reported that ASCO 2026 will feature more than 7,000 abstracts. An oncologist at New York Presbyterian told Biospace, "There is a palpable sense at this year's ASCO that we may be entering a fundamentally different era in GI oncology." A growing coalition in Congress is pushing to add biotechnology to the COINS Act, which would restrict U.S. outbound capital flows to Chinese biotech companies, according to Fierce Biotech. Executive takeaway: the sac-TMT abstract is the biggest pre-ASCO data point. A 65% reduction in progression risk when an ADC is added to the world's best-selling drug in the world's largest oncology indication is a practice-changing result. Keytruda alone is the standard of care for PD-L1 positive first-line NSCLC. Adding sac-TMT to Keytruda nearly doubled the efficacy on PFS. The preliminary 45% OS trend, while immature, points in the same direction. If confirmed at the full presentation, this would be the strongest data supporting ADC plus checkpoint inhibitor combination therapy in lung cancer to date. For Merck, this is the Keytruda succession story coming to life. Sac-TMT does not replace Keytruda, it makes Keytruda better. A combination regimen would extend the Keytruda franchise beyond its 2028 patent expiration by making it part of a new standard of care that requires both agents. This is the same thesis we highlighted when Merck's sac-TMT hit Phase 3 in endometrial cancer on May 20th. Now the data extend to lung cancer, a far larger market. ASCO opens tomorrow with more than 7,000 abstracts spanning oncology's most active areas: ADCs, bispecific antibodies, RAS inhibitors, radiopharmaceuticals, and cell therapy. Revolution Medicine's plenary on Saturday is the headliner, but the sac-TMT abstract, the Akeso ivonescimab OS data, and the J&J Erleada prostate data will all generate significant commercial attention. Read full analysis, what to watch. ASCO opens tomorrow, May 29th. Opening sessions and initial abstract presentations. Full conference runs through June 7th, Saturday, May 31st. Plenary sessions, Revolution Medicine's full Phase 3 Resolute 302 data, Brian Wolpin, Dana-Farber, PFS, subgroups, survival curves. The data that could trigger a CMPV filing, Akeso ivonescimab, overall survival data from Harmony 6 in squamous NSCLC. The PD-1 VEGF bispecific previously beat Keytruda in PFS, Harmony 02. OS data will determine whether ivonescimab becomes a Keytruda challenger. J&J Erleada Proteus, described as a paradigm shift in high-risk, localized or locally advanced prostate cancer. Opens the plenary. sac-TMT full presentation. The OptiTrop lung 05 abstract is from a China-only study. Merck's global trial TroFuse 07 is evaluating sac-TMT plus Keytruda in PD-L1 high NSCLC. Watch for any TroFuse 007 data or commentary. COINS Act: if biotechnology is added to outbound capital restrictions, it would directly affect US VC and PE investment in Chinese biotech, potentially disrupting the licensing pipeline. BMS Hengrui, Lilly Hengrui, GSK Siren Bio, AbbVie, ASCO, Merck, Kelun Biotech. Clinical and research update sac-TMT plus Keytruda cuts progression risk by 65% in first-line lung cancer. MRKW What happened? ASCO abstracts released ahead of the meeting revealed that Merck and Kelun Biotech's sacituzumab tirumotecan, sac-TMT, a TROP2 directed antibody-drug conjugate, reduced the risk of disease progression or death by 65% when combined with Keytruda versus Keytruda alone in treatment-naive PD-L1 positive non-small cell lung cancer. The data come from the Phase 3 OptiTROP Lung-05 trial conducted in China. The combination achieved a statistically significant PFS improvement, HR0, 35, P0, 001. A preliminary overall survival analysis showed a 45% improvement in favor of the combination arm, but OS was not mature at the September 29, 2025 data cutoff. Fierce Pharma noted this is the first randomized Phase 3 data showing a TROP2 ADC can meaningfully improve outcomes in first-line NSCLC when added to a checkpoint inhibitor. Executive impact. This is the second major Phase 3 win for sac-TMT in a month, after the endometrial cancer data on May 20th. The Kelun Biotech partnership is proving to be one of the most productive China licensing deals in the industry. For Merck, sac-TMT plus Keytruda in first-line NSCLC could extend the Keytruda franchise well beyond its 2028 patent expiration by making the combination the new standard of care. Merck's global trial, TroFuse-007, is evaluating the same combination in PD-L1 high NSCLC patients and will be the basis for US and global regulatory submissions. ASCO plenary preview 3 sessions that could move markets. Revolution Medicines, Resolute 302, Saturday, full phase. 3 data in second-line pancreatic cancer. We know 13, 2 months OS versus 6, 7 months HR 040. We need PFS data, subgroup analyses, mature survival curves, safety details, Truist Project's Q3 approval under CNPV. 2. Akeso Ivonescimab, Harmony 6 OS, Saturday. Overall survival data for the PD-1 VEGF bispecific antibody in squamous NSCLC. Ivonescimab previously showed a 40% PFS improvement over tislelizumab plus chemo and separately beat Keytruda in PFS in Harmony 02. OS data will determine whether a Chinese bispecific can challenge the global IO standard of care. 3. J&J Erleada Proteus, Saturday, opens plenary. Data described as a potential paradigm shift in high-risk, localized or locally advanced prostate cancer. Erleada, apalutamide, is already approved in metastatic and non-metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer. A positive Proteus result would expand the label into earlier disease stages. Policy and geopolitical push to restrict U.S. capital flows to Chinese biotech fierce. Biotech reported that a growing coalition in Congress wants biotechnology added to the COINS Act, which would restrict outbound U.S. capital flows to designated sectors in countries of concern, including China. If enacted, this would directly affect U.S. venture capital and private equity investment in Chinese biotech companies, and could complicate the licensing pipeline that has been one of the defining trends of 2026. Companies with significant China licensing exposure include BMS Hengrui 15-2B, Lilly Hengrui via Kylera, Merck, Kelun Biotech, sac-TMT, GSK Siren Bio 1B, and AbbVie ASCO. The provision has not yet passed, but the political momentum is building. The week ahead. Tomorrow, May 29th, ASCO 2026 opens, Chicago. May 29th, FDA RTCT public comment period closes Saturday, May 31, ASCO plenary sessions, Revolution, Akeso, J&J. June 9, ASCO closes June 4th, Jefferies Global Healthcare Conference, New York. Read full analysis, Biomed, Nexus Pro, Institutional Intelligence Brief, sac-TMT, the Keytruda succession. Plan Keytruda faces LOE in 2028. Merck has been building a post-Keytruda portfolio centered on the Kelun Biotech ADC partnership. The sac-TMT data are now the strongest evidence that this strategy is working. Endometrial cancer, May 20th, Phase 3 positive, PFS and OS superiority over chemotherapy. First-line NSCLC, ASCO abstract, 65% PFS improvement when added to Keytruda, HR0, 35P001, 45% preliminary OS trend. The combination approach is the key insight. sac-TMT does not replace Keytruda. It makes Keytruda better. A Keytruda plus sac-TMT combination in first-line NSCLC would create a new regimen that requires both agents, extending Keytruda's commercial life even after generic pembrolizumab enters the market. The China to Global Bridge, OptiTrop-Lung05, was conducted in China. TroFuse 007, Merck's global study, is the basis for worldwide regulatory submissions. The China data serve as a proof of concept. The global data will determine the label. ASCO by the numbers, 7,000 plus abstracts accepted 3 plenary presentations, Revolution, ASCO, J&J, 200B plus in combined market cap, represented by presenting companies, key themes, ADC combinations, RAS inhibitors, bispecific antibodies, radiopharmaceuticals, cell therapy, real-world evidence. Most watched, Revolution. Resolute 302, Saturday plenary. Coins, Act, the China capital. Risk if biotechnology is added to the Coins Act. U.S. investors would face restrictions on investing in Chinese biotech companies and potentially in U.S. companies with significant Chinese partnerships. The 2026 China licensing wave includes deal value, status BMS-E, Hengru 15, 2B 13 programs, active Lilly, Hengrui via Kylera, IPO 6 and 25 active Merck, Kelun Biotech sac-TMT, multiple programs phase 3 GSK, Seran Bio 1B, ALK7, siRNA, phase 1 ABVI HASCO-NAV 1. 8 pain phase 1. The legislation would not retroactively unwind existing deals, but could freeze new investments and complicate future milestone payments and royalty structures. The political pressure is real. China's biotech sector is growing rapidly, and U.S. policymakers increasingly view it as both a competitive threat and a national security concern. Catalyst calendar, ASCO and beyond date event tickers. Tomorrow, May 29, ASCO 2026 opens, Chicago. Multiple, May 29 FDA RTCT public comment period, closes N.A. Saturday. May 31 ASCO plenary, Revolution, Resolute 302, Akeso Ivanescimab OS, J&J Eliada Proteus RVMD, MRK, J&J June 2 ASCO, closes multiple June 4 Jefferies, Global Healthcare Conference, New York, multiple June 2026 Takeda CEO transition, Julie Kim, TAC late, Q2 Lilly Fund IoT2D, filing under CNP VLLY Q3 2026 Revolution Medicines, Deraxon RACIB approval projected, Truist, RVMD July, EEG1 Medicare GLP-1 Bridge Program launches, LLY, NVO Q3 2026 Teva, Emalex, close expected Teva July, 31 Section, 232, Pharma Tariffs, effective, large companies, multiple deck, 2026 Mineralis, Lorundrostat, PDU FAMY SH2, 2026 Merck SAC TMT, global filing expected, TroFuse 007, MRKH2 2026 Foundeo, T2D regulatory action, expected LY H2 2026, Lilly Kelonia, closed, expected LY 2026 Triumph H2, Keytruda T2D, readout, expected LY 2027, Keytruda launch, anticipated, BMO, LEDEC 7 Lilly, investment community meeting, LLY, visit the Pro Hub read, full article, limited ASCO week, sponsorship slots available, May 29th, June sold. Reach 65,000 plus professionals during the biggest oncology event of the year. Learn more. Is your company listed in the Biomed Nexus directory? 2,104 companies across 14 categories. Claim or upgrade your listing. Sponsorship slots for 2026 are limited. See packages and pricing. New Biomed Nexus. Signals. Weekly sales intelligence for life sciences. BD teams. Learn more.